Welcome back to Life is Art, and I'm here at the Yuma Art Spot in Yuma, Arizona, which is my studio and home. And we do art classes and art events and art lessons for adults and children here. And I occasionally work on my own projects and just live my life. Um, Today, I want to talk about life is art, trust the process. Um, my process in this particular painting anyway, is to work on a grid, to work on squares, and kind of work on one at a time so I start getting a mosaic feel. The one behind me here is still in progress. It's just more of an abstract in nature. I'm just seeing where it takes me. It was just to kind of have fun and play and mess without feeling like I had to get some specific result out of it. This one, on the other hand, is obviously a portrait. Um, this is a little bit early on to work these squares one at a time the way I'm doing it. It takes a while, but it's nowhere near being done. So I wanted to let you in on the early start of this process. So eventually you can see where the process takes me and how radically different it is. This won't stay strictly a grid everywhere probably. I have some thoughts of kind of leaving the grid show in some areas and kind of completely painting over the grid in others. Some of these places will have this mosaic feel to it when I'm done. Others will maybe not even have the grid at all, but I'm going to just go with the process and see where it leads me. The reason this is important to me is because it relates to my life. Early on in my life, I tried a little of this, and then I did that, and then I went this direction, and I kind of went back and forth, unsure of what I wanted. And I didn't get a whole lot out of that. Now, in the last 5, 6 years, I've been working towards some goals. Now, where I'm at now doesn't exactly, if you'd have asked me 6 years ago, will I be in Yuma, Arizona? Will I be working on these large scale, for me, they're large scale paintings, teaching classes to other people, holding art parties and birthday parties? Will you be a graduate from college in psychology and moving on to be an expressive art therapist? I would have said no. In fact, I thought when I was starting art therapy would be fun. And I looked into it and found out that it was more psychology and it required a master's degree. And I said, well, there is no way I'm doing that. And I just won't be able to do that. It's just not going to happen. So I did fine art, and then I moved a little into graphic design, and I come from North Carolina out to here, Arizona, and I found out that I could get into school and start working my way towards something, a 4-year degree and beyond. And I started thinking about that, that thought of art therapy again. And kind of along the way, I started my home studio here and painting with people, and it just sort of all happened one to the next. So I didn't plan it all, but I went with this process. The difference is between kind of going from art to graphic design to psychology, trying to wrap it all back up into art, is I've not given up on any of it. I've changed courses a little bit. I went this way, and then I went this way, and then I've tried to join them all together to make use of everything that I've learned. But I didn't just give up on it. And that's kind of how my past used to be. I tried school a bit. That didn't work. Let me try the military a bit. That didn't work out right. Let me go here. Wait, I don't like this. Let me try the military some more. I just bounced around. I tried a lot of things. Didn't like a lot of things the way it was going. And I just gave up on it. So now that I follow these processes, I wanted to not say that word, but that way, but that's where I was going, and I think that's the correct way to say it. It just sounds very, I don't know, like I'm trying to be smarter than I am, but I just try to trust whatever process I'm working with now. This process will get a different result than where I'm at right now, but it'll be fun to see this. This is going to turn out to be a great painting. By simply following the process. This is going to be a little more complex than some of the ones I do when I'm working with other people, but these paintings really, in my mind, have more to do with following the process through to the end and not just giving up on it. The more work you put in, the more detail you add into each square, the more fun it gets. It's kind of hard to mess one of these up in my mind, so trust in the process and see what happens. Another thing with this is getting through to make these things I'm working towards, or you're working towards, really come together and get the results you want, is to put the work in. I don't always know where that's going to lead. But I keep some general goals and focus in front of me, and I work towards it. I want to get through school. I want to keep working in art. I just work towards it. It always works out a little different than I've planned, but a lot of people think art is about inspiration. You dream up some amazing thing one day, you wake up, you relax, you put on music, you paint it, and it just comes out. Some people probably do that and have great results. Every now and then I do, and it's great when it happens that way. But if I waited on that, I'd never paint it. And so there's a guy who works on the grids, and not quite in the same way that I do it, but it's the inspiration that I got for doing a portrait this way. And Chuck Close, he's a living working artist now. He's successful. He does great work on a much larger scale than I do, much better than I do. And his quote is that inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work. Try that out in your life. Show up, get to work. Don't sit around waiting for a big epiphany to happen. Just start putting the work in. Put some time and effort, learning the things you want to learn, moving towards where you want to move. And hey, time's going to pass, whether you work towards your goals or not. At the end of a year, 2, 3, or 4, you could be closer to achieving your goals, or having achieved some of them, or not. The time will still pass, and you will have achieved your goals or you won't. So show up, get to work. Life is art, and trust the process. Thanks. See you next time.